Peace and blessings to the family. It is me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boxing community. Shout out to the Louisiana All American Sports Network. Shout out to Envision Photography and Video. And shout out to the greatest university in the world, the Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. This is a pop-up live stream. Breaking news: Southern University has fired. Southern University has fired head football coach Terrance Graves. Uh, I'm not gonna lie. The fact that he was on the SWAC digital network for the live stream this morning, and the fact that I really hadn't heard anything. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't think they was gonna pull a trigger on it after a while, even though I was certain that, from what I was told, like Saturday, people was telling me, like a few people told me, like, look, hey, if he lose homecoming and they lose the way they lost, which they did, that he was gonna get fired. Like a few people told me that. Evidently these are people like connected to Tony Clayton. And then a few people told me, like, after the game, it was like, oh, he gonna get fired tonight. And I'm like, what? So, today at school, like, we didn't have any students because basically it was like parent-teacher conference day today. And since I'm an administrator, I really didn't have any students to talk to. I'm talking about, let me phrase it. I didn't have any parents to talk to. And as a result, like, I'm kind of checking it out with the woo, and he still was on. So, as the day progressed, I'm like, well, hey, I guess they're gonna keep him. And I went work out, got me a workout in, and I noticed I had some text messages, salute to my brother Jay Good. And I really didn't pay attention to the messages. But then I was going through the different Facebook groups, and I saw Carlos Brown, salute to him. Basically, he had posted a link. WBRZ had an article basically saying that Terrance Graves had been fired. And truthfully speaking, it's not a shock that they fired him. However, it is a shock in which the timing they did it. I felt like they would have did it like earlier this morning or even midday. But the workday was over when the news finally broke. I mean, like I said, I was literally in the midst of working out, and I got some text messages. I really didn't think nothing of it. I thought it was like, messages being sent to the family group chat and whatever the case may be. But, when I got to the crib after my workout, I was getting ready to jump in the shower. I saw that they fired him, they let him go. So it's not a surprise. It's not a shock nor a surprise that they actually fired him. However, the timing of it is what kind of caught me off guard and caught me by surprise. So I'm gonna just be truthful. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It was time for him to go because, truthfully speaking, I was never really sold on him to begin with. First of all, second of all, like the first game last year against McNeese State, and if y'all don't believe me, go back and look at not the live stream, but the video leading up to the McNeese game. And I was like, look, hey, if he doesn't win against McNeese and Savannah State and get a couple of these early dubs, like, it could get ugly real quick for him because Jaguar Nation is going to turn against him. And, it was bad. And I thought it really, truly, I'm not even going to lie, I thought it could get this bad last year. However, they turned it around, and I got to give him credit. He pulled the season out the fire, and the fact that realistically, the fact that they made it to the SWAC championship game last year, I was shocked by that, to be truthful. And the fact that they had the momentum. I mean, don't get me wrong, they beat up on all SWAC West teams. It's not like, they beat the elite teams in the SWAC. But nevertheless, they still got to the SWAC championship game. They had the lead in the first half. But we know how things turned out. And I said the same thing this season. Basically, hey, he got to get off to a good start in the SWAC MEAC Challenge. He got to beat PV. Like, he got to win a couple games early, because if it goes like worst case scenario, it could get ugly real quick. And sure enough, it did. I'm not going to lie, going into the season, I thought he would be able to capitalize and use the overachievement season last season. It's kind of like a launching pad into this season. And looking at some of the recruits that they had on paper, not to mention Trey Holly, truthfully speaking, I'm not going to lie. A lot of fans, was saying that, hey, that they're going to end up being like 1-4, 1-5, 1-6. But I'm not going to lie. Looking at a lot of the transfers they got from, PWI, Power 5, not Power 5, but bigger schools, looking at Trey Holly and Mike Franklin and Princeton Cahey, even though all of these guys play the same position, looking at guys like Demarion Johnson, the secondary, and not only that, but the fact that they were able to constantly replace guys like, Trey Lane and Jordan Lewis and Taj Brown. Hey, I thought, well, hey, they was able to replace those guys. Henry Miller defense been pretty good. Hey, they just going to keep the ball rolling on the road defensively. And if Jalen Woods could stay healthy offensively, even if Jamari Jones is a starter, either or, I felt like, well, hey, it's going to be good. So who would have thought Jamari Jones would hit the portal? And then in addition to Jamari Jones hitting the portal, Jalen Woods would have had the season that he's had from an injury perspective. Not only the way the season started, for one, not only the way the season started, but after the way the season started, him getting the start against Valley and getting a concussion. I mean, truthfully speaking, things couldn't have gone any worse for Terrance Graves than they did. The only thing that would have made it worse if they had actually lost to Valley. And they could have easily lost that game too, to be truthful. And then on top of that, just the roster is just not what I thought it would be. And, they pointed this out on HBCU game day, salute to them. Basically, relying on so many players from the transfer portal in terms of, like, bigger schools. You thinking these guys gonna come in and do their thing. And clearly, for the exception of Trey Holly, like Mike Franklin, Princeton Cahey, none of those guys panned out the way I thought they would, the way I anticipated. So at the end of the day, like, once things started going left, and it started going left quickly, I always knew there was a possibility going back to the beginning of last season. So at the end of the day, am I shocked that they got rid of him? No. Am I shocked the timing of it in terms of at the point of the day they did it? That's what I'm shocked by. So at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie, like, I wish him well. And I mean, I don't want to see nobody get fired, but at the same token, when you become the head football coach at Southern, there's a certain level of expectations that's required that needs to be met. And, he just didn't get the job done. But like I say, I wish him well. Hopefully he lands on his feet and he gets him another coaching job for next season. And I'm gonna read the chat, and then I'm gonna highlight them because, like I said, I planned on being here for a good time, not for a long time. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie, it was time for him to go. From a recruiting standpoint, I was telling this to Jay Good earlier today. Eric Dooley wasn't a good coach, but at least he could recruit. Now, he wasn't a good coach. He really couldn't evaluate, and develop quarterback talent. But he could recruit. I give him that. He could recruit. And now he wasn't a good coach, but like I said, at least he could recruit. He didn't evaluate quarterbacks well. He didn't develop quarterbacks well, but he could recruit. And realistically, like I say this all the time, he basically was living off what Grambling did in terms of Devontae Kincaid and Martez Carter. I mean, how many teams gonna get that type of quarterback running back combination in the SWAC? I mean, it's not too many, running back quarterback combination like that in SWAC history. So he just kind of caught lightning in the bottle, but at least he could recruit. This recruiting class, it just did not do what I thought it would do. It didn't hit the way I thought it would hit. And from a roster standpoint, the roster is not that good. And then not only from a coaching perspective, he didn't. One, when it comes to strategy, X's and O's, making adjustments, decision making, play calling, game management, clock management, all of the things you would need a good head coach to be. Like, he don't tick none of those boxes. Just to kind of be just brutal and honest and truthfully speaking. Realistically, I'm not only like, Blackwater Bayou pointed this out when they first hired him. Salute to Blackwater Bayou, met him and his pops. The first game of the season, Pete Richardson Classic against Alabama State. He said this. He said he wasn't even a good defensive coordinator. So realistically, some guys are good position coaches. I think at this point, he's just a good position coach at best. And then, truthfully speaking, somebody was saying, "Hey, I don't trust." Like, they put this in the comment section. Like, I don't trust. I don't know if this was Facebook on my channel, but it was like, I don't trust like morbidly obese coaches because they was like, he a liability to begin with. Like, hey, he might have a heart attack on the field during the game. That's a liability issue. And then myself, man, God, dog, bro, y'all just don't hold back, man. I ain't attacking the man weight. I'm attacking what he doing from a coaching perspective, from a coaching standpoint. So at the end of the day, it was just time for Southern to part ways with him. But I'm not gonna lie, there's still a lot of work to be done. Fred McNair is the interim head coach. But if I was the board of directors, if it was simply a Coach 67 Sports TV call, I'll give it to everybody. I'll give it to Roman Banks, Terrance Graves, and truthfully speaking, even Fred McNair. Don't get me wrong, I think Fred McNair he was a good head coach at Alcorn State. Even though he couldn't beat North Carolina A&T in those 2 times in the Celebration Bowl, like, he a good head coach. He got him a couple SWAC championships under his belt. But at the end of the day, like, he's attached to this Terrance Graves coaching staff, and he got to take some of the hit for this too. You know what I'm saying? So I think somebody like Fred McNair, it'll be in his best interest if he was able to start ground zero and just, start from scratch. But in terms of Southern, anybody associated with Terrance Graves, I want him out. You know what I'm saying? First of all, get rid of Banks. Get rid of the whole coaching staff. And I'm not gonna lie, I hate to say this. Maybe for the exception of maybe somebody like maybe DeMarion Johnson, maybe a Marion Asbury. Damn near the whole roster, pretty much the whole roster. I don't care if you was first team on SWAC. Kelby Givens getting ready to graduate anyway. This is the last year eligibility anyway. Really, damn near the whole roster. Like, okay, all y'all hit the portal too. I would want nobody associated to this, nobody linked to this season. Well, I'm gonna take that back. Even though we know Trey Holly, as soon as the season over, he gonna hit the portal. If his If his charges, especially if his charges are dropped, if his charges are dropped, then we know he's gonna hit the portal. But really, outside of him, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I think he the best running back I've ever seen come through Southern University in my lifetime. I mean, as good as Tillery, Melvin Williams Jr., and Lindsey Scott Sr., and all of those guys that I have on my top 10 Southern University running backs list, Trey Holly better than all of them, even Jermaine Sharp, even Steve Warford. I thought Steve Warford was overrated to begin with anyway. But essentially, he a way better version of Steve Warford, truthfully speaking. You know, them jump cuts he make, you know, him being able to cut on a dime. I'm not gonna lie, Trey Holly the real deal. He the best. I'm not saying he gonna have the best career, but from a talent standpoint, he the best running back I done seen come through Southern. And the fact that they having such a just a trash season, like man, I mean, you like the worst team in the SWAC offensively, like the second to last defensively, special teams not that good. Like basically they're struggling in all three phases of the game. So I think even Fred McNair, this is too steep a hill for him to climb. But truthfully speaking, I'm sick of all of these coaches that were, you know, attached to Pete Richardson in terms of played for Pete Richardson, assistant coaches for Pete Richardson. And just not on that, but all of these recycled SWAC coaches anyway. I think you need to just have a fresh start at this point and start from the bottom. The whole athletic program need a factory reset, like my brother Jay Good said. The whole athletic program needs a factory reset. Just need to take a match, some gas, burn it all down, and start from the bottom up. You need to get you a good athletic director, an excellent head football coach, maybe somebody like a Trey Oliver, a Chennis Berry, somebody along those lines. You probably don't have the bread to get either one of those cats, but either way the cut go, uh, you just basically need to go in a different direction and you need to do big things. But like I said, I planned on being here for a good time, not a long time. Uh, Salute to your boy Jay. He said shocked they let him get through the workday, then fired him. Yeah, I say the same thing. Nathaniel Frank said not surprised. Nathaniel Frank said wish him well. And that's one thing I want to emphasize. Like I wish him well. I hope everything works out for him, works in his favor. Hopefully, you know, he bounces back and he's able to get another job next season. Sonic Boom C98 said it won't be a quick turnaround. That's another thing too. Like, you know, fam, you coming to AW on Saturday, and this roster is not that good. So, what could Fred McNair do from an interim standpoint? I don't know, but we'll see. Your boy Jay said should have fired the special teams coach and Fredericks to just let the assistants coach. Well, this is the issue with you firing Mark Fredericks. You can't fire him because essentially is his offense in place. Fred McNair is the co-offensive coordinator from the standpoint of Fred McNair is the play caller, but Mark Frederick translate the plays to his system, if that makes sense. So you couldn't get rid of Frederick. Maybe the special teams coach, maybe, but you couldn't get rid of Mark Fredericks. Sonic Boom C98 said, is SU going to have the same AD? Then I don't expect much improvement next year. That's the thing about it. I think they need to fire Roman Banks too. Roman Banks was a very good basketball coach. He has left so much to be desired as an athletic director. I mean, you just might as well get rid of him too, from my perspective. Sonic Boom C98 said we'll take Holly if he doesn't want to go back to he going back to FBS program. I promise you that. I think the biggest issue Trey Holly has at this point is when are his charges going to be dropped? I think they're going to be dropped eventually, but hopefully for him, because I'm not going to lie, I think it's in his best interest to, you know, I think at this point he's upped his value. You know, I don't know how much money, NIL money, is out there waiting for him, but barring injury, yeah, I think he should hit the portal. I think that's in his best interest. Straight to the point, sports and entertainment, man, salute to your family. He said, salute coach, salute fam, man, salute to you, bro. It's me right now. He said, if Fred McNair wins out with SU, keep him as head coach. I think they will. I think if he wins out, they keep him. But truthfully speaking, if it was a me call, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't keep him. I don't want no recycled SWAC head coaches, even ones that don't won SWAC championships. I think you need to start afresh, start anew. Get you a head coach outside of the SWAC. Somebody that has a proven track record, building a program, being a winning coach. That's going to be one of my live streams coming up. Because realistically, this was supposed to be a video, but by the time it was going to take me to upload the video and shoot the video and all that, I just might as well go live, you know what I'm saying? He said, who do you think is a good fit? I'm not going to lie. I'm going to do another live stream in terms of talking about the guys I would want to be the next Southern University head coach. I'm going to talk about it. Salute to my brother, Jared 11 Green. Thursday on his channel, HBCU Fanatics. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about Southern University 2025 homecoming, FAMU and Alcorn State. We're going to talk about it all on his channel Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Your boy Jay said, now I'm interested to see if Southern takes the high-profile name like Falk to give a boost to the program. Yeah, I'm definitely going to break that down in a upcoming live stream. In fact, I think I might do back-to-back live streams tomorrow and Wednesday. If not, I might cover it all Wednesday on the tailgate party. We'll see. Sonic Boom C98 said, your boy, the high-profile guys haven't worked out for everyone so far. Yeah, I agree. Hugh Jackson didn't work out for Grambling. Really, T.C. Taylor took what Deion Sanders did and added on to it. I think Eddie George did decent. It's going to be interesting to see what Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson does. I really wouldn't consider Chris Dishman and Terrell Buckley, even though they have NFL pedigree. I wouldn't consider them high-profile guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how things work out. I mean, it's always a crapshoot anyway. That's why I prefer to get a established guy. You know what I'm saying? Your boy J.C. Wright, but Southern had interest in Falk in 2021. He's been coaching. I wonder if they double back. I'm not going to lie. I don't think it'll be a bad idea, but I'm going to address it in my live stream, you know. Sonic Boom C98 said, Southern needs to clean house, but can they find a good AD? That's the thing about it. Realistically, I don't think Roman Banks is a good athletic director. I think he's a good basketball coach. He's not a good athletic director. I don't care what nobody say. Banks' last 3 hires have been Rollins, Dooley, and Graves. How does he even have a job still? Yeah, you know, and of course, I know a couple of people going to be like, well, his hands are tied. You know, the board, wanted a couple of these cats. But I don't care what nobody say. He wanted Dooley. So at the end of the day, and not only that, but looking at the money you paid Dooley and Graves, man, if I'm somebody like a Trey Oliver, Chennis Berry, the kind of cheese you gave them, man, shit, I want like $500,000 a year. And that's just big facts, you know. Israel Carey, he said, I wonder how the players feel about the change. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if them getting rid of him give him a little juice, a little shot in the arm, the way getting rid of Trent Dilfer did for UAB, you know. Desmond Allen, salute. He said, great. Step into the right direction. Go Jags. Yes, sir. Jared Love Green said, they saying a lot. Yeah, they saying a lot. Your boy J said, Banks said he was going to have a meeting with the players to see how they felt. And you see Graves isn't here. Yeah, that says a whole lot. Your boy J yelling and cussing and mean mugging all game isn't going to do anything anymore. No, those days are gone. You got to be able to appeal to younger players nowadays. It's a different generation. It's a different era, you know. Israel Carey said, makes sense, your boy Jay. Jared said, family, put in the chat, who would you think would be a great candidate for the next head coach? Yeah, that's an excellent thing. Yeah, do that. Sonic Boom C98 said McNair can't turn the program around. No, he can't because The talent just isn't there. Even though you got a lot of players from bigger schools, they just don't have the kind of talent, you know. Just man, I say hell no to Fred McNair. I done already said that. My brother Jerry Lovin Green said I think Kevin Falk or Marshall Falk would be good candidates. I think so. Nathaniel Frank said whoever the next coach, he said whoever coach next year needs to recruit well. And that's the thing about it. I pointed it out earlier. Like Eric Dooley recruited well. He just wasn't a good coach, you know. Jared, my brother Jared Lovin Green said, and Nathaniel Frank 100 recruiting is key. Yeah, that's the thing about it. Dooley was able to recruit, but he just couldn't coach. But yeah, but that's it for this live stream. Like I said earlier, I planned on being here for a good time, not a long time. I'm not going to end the live stream just yet. I'm going to just highlight all the comments in the comment section. Since I'm on my phone, I'm going to switch devices, and I'm going to highlight it. I'm probably going to do the tailgate party tomorrow. Maybe Wednesday. I don't know. I might do separate live streams. In fact, y'all put in the chat, put in the comment section if y'all want me to just get both topics out the way during the tailgate party, or y'all actually want me to come back and do separate live streams for both of them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to catch y'all on the rebound. You have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Peace and blessings. I'm getting ready to highlight everybody in the chat. Go Jags. And I appreciate everybody coming through, rocking with the channel. Peace and blessings to the family. Go Jags, you dig?